Welcome to the Open Forum in the Villages, Florida. In this show, we talk to leaders of clubs and interesting folks who live here in the Villages to get perspectives of what is happening here in the Villages, Florida. We are a listener-supported podcast. There will be shout-outs for supporters in episodes.
This is Mike Roth. And listeners, I'm thrilled to share with you this podcast, which is my passion project for you. This podcast brings you knowledge, inspiration, and a lot of things that people need to know about the Villages and the people living here. Be sure to hit the follow button to get the newest episode each week. Creating this podcast is a labor of love, even though it demands more time I can easily spare. Now, here's where you come in. You can help us keep the podcast alive and thriving. How? By becoming a supporter. The easy way for you to support us is to visit our podcast webpage, openforuminthevillagesflorida.com, and click on the supporter button at the top of the page, or the purple supporter box. Even a small donation of $3 to $10 a month makes a big difference, and you can cancel your subscription at any time. Your support means the world to us. Stay curious, stay inspired, and keep those headphones on. I hope everyone enjoys today's show. This is Mike Roth on Open Forum in the Villages, Florida. I want to welcome Luanne Hunt and Jim Bellacera. Luanne has a background in the entertainment industry. Luanne, why don't you share yours first?
I've been in the entertainment business for as long as I can remember. I started out professionally in community theater.
Okay.
And then I moved into singing and vocal performance. I started out singing at retirement homes and county fairs, and then I got into teaching singing for a long time. I had a lot of shows with my students, and that turned into me pursuing a career as a recording artist. I've also been an entertainment promoter and put on dozens of shows throughout my lifetime.
Where was that?
In Southern California.
You're in Southern California.
And then eventually we moved to the high desert of California, Victorville, Apple Valley.
Roy Rogers Music.
Yes.
And Jim, what's your background?
Oh, it's interesting. I really wasn't the entertainer the same way that Annie was, but I call her Annie, Luanne. I was in personal development, public speaker, trainer. I taught people how to overcome their fears and all that kind of wonderful things. But I was also involved in entertainment because I brought entertainment into all of my events. I did events with a few hundred people to arenas all across the United States and around the world.
I was out in the Ontario area, and then eventually we moved to the high desert of California, Victorville, Apple Valley.
So, Annie, I ran into you when you were doing the community theater at the Old Mill Playhouse. Why don't you tell our listening audience who may not have heard about that, what that was all about?
We met a lady here in the Villages when we first moved here 4 years ago. Her name is Marie Bogdanoff, and she runs this Villagers for Veterans organization. We got to know her, and we wound up doing a show for her back in 2022, and it was a big success. So she had been asking me over the years to do a few other things, and I started this singer-songwriter series in 2023 called Nashville Nights. We did some of those, and they were successful. Through that, we got to know Craig Wolf at the Old Mill Playhouse, who was the general manager. And we just sit around talking a lot of times, dreaming about the space over there because it's so wonderful and what could be done. And Jim and I told him we'd like to maybe do theater over here, it'd be really awesome. And he was all for it. So next thing you know, Jim's building a stage, and I planned the whole season of shows. And Jim, of course, did his wizardry with the marketing and just drew so many people over there to our shows. And so it was really successful. And it was just a surprise to us because people took to it so quickly and were so willing to come out and support what we were doing.
I think there's a big market for entertainment here in the Villages.
I actually produced 2 albums for the purpose of overcoming ASCAP and BMI. So I could do videos and anything we wanted to do. Didn't have to worry about paying anything. After meeting Annie and learning about her skills and hearing many of the songs that she had written and done and performed herself, I realized the talent that she had. Then the longer we were together, the more I began to see all the things that this woman could do, from creating videos, producing all kinds of things, working with musicians and turning those songs into just another level of quality. When you're someone like me who's been in this world and worked with so many pros, I found out that we're going to start doing something at the theater. I was all in and helping her.
Why don't we share with our listeners about your new theater?
I think we should preface it by saying that we have moved out of the Old Mill Playhouse.
Mm-hmm.
They have decided to cancel all their live entertainment at the Old Mill Playhouse. Luckily, we found out about Grand Oaks Resort. We had been over there a few times to eat at their bistro, and Jim noticed they had some rooms. And he said to me, maybe we should just go over and talk to them and see if they'd be willing to let us do this, what we're doing at the Old Mill. So we did, and sure enough, they were open to it. They have a big room. It's called the West Gallery. And they use it for weddings once in a while. And
That's the room they used to have all of the carriages in.
exactly.
They were beautiful carriages.
They've actually walled off half of it. That's a good thing because we wouldn't need as much space as it originally was. Yeah, they were on board, and Jim built a stage in there, beautiful stage. And it's going to be great because now I'll be able to have flexibility. Like, we're going to be doing dinner theater over there. And that's something I know that people love. There's something about dinner theater. People love it, and they will keep it alive. For those who've never been to Grand Oaks, it's simply breathtaking. And
It's got a lot of space, limited parking.
Jim and I have talked about this so many times this last couple of weeks, but there's a misconception about where it is and how far it is because it's really close by.
But it's funny because they really do think it's way out in the country. It's 1.2 miles off the 441, hanging right on the Marion County Road. It's 1.2 miles to the driveway to the Grand Oaks Resort.
That depends on where you're starting from. If you're starting from Lady Lake in the Villages, not a problem. It's quite local.
It's 7 minutes. But if you're coming from a different part of the Villages,
If you're coming
Right.
from Newell, near the high school, you're looking at 40 minutes to get up there.
the perception is it's way out in the country. And that's what the point she was trying to make. It does feel like you're out there.
They have so much open land.
Almost
Beautiful.
have 400 acres.
It's a lot of land.
Yeah, and just to be able to have the luxury of being able to control that room and create the environment in that room and build it out the way we want to build it. This is crazy because when this whole thing was coming down with the theater, I told Annie, I go, we really should go out there.
How big is the stage you built?
It's 24 by 12,
24.
12 feet deep, 24 feet wide.
And how far off the ground is it?
It's 30 inches.
Okay. Does it have a curtain?
The backdrop is curtained, by the way, and then two sides is curtained. I'm also adding to it so that when the entertainers are coming up the steps, there's a little runway. I'm adding one more thing to it, where there'll be curtains they will walk through so no one can see them when they're in the green room.
Okay. There's no front curtain. And what did you do for the acoustics in that hall?
We're working on it right now. I'm actually talking to a professional that's all he does for a living. He's done churches and schools and so on and so forth. So we're starting with adding more speakers so we can do it at a lower volume, which helps tremendously. Aiming them downward at a 15-degree angle. So it's going towards the carpet on the ground. And then we'll be doing some stuff on the walls that will help also
Great. That's
soften
great.
it.
What's your vision for this theater?
We want to bring a variety of entertainment there. The whole reason I wanted to start the theater to begin with was to do plays and musicals because I have a theater background and that was my dream. And so we definitely are going to be doing quite a bit of that. But we also found out that people like to come out and see tribute shows or hear oldies music from their generation. So we want to bring a good bit of that in as well. The show that we have coming up on June 28th, which is a luau style show.
Different.
Something maybe you'd see on a cruise ship or something, a specialty type show where you have a variety of things happening, but it's also a fun atmosphere for people. So we'll have different shows like that, maybe murder mysteries, whatever we can dream of.
So that would be an original composition show as opposed to putting on a version of Oklahoma.
Exactly. I don't have any interest in putting on the tried and true things because for me, as someone who's very creative, I don't get any joy out of that because it's been done so many times. What more? I don't have any fun doing something that's been done before. We did a play at the Old Mill in March called Betty and the Jockettes, Spinning Records at the Holiday Inn. It was a takeoff of Sam Phillips, who started Sun Records label, and he actually started a all-female run radio station in Memphis.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so this play, it wasn't nonfiction. There was a lot of stuff in it that was just made up, but it was based on that story. And I wound up meeting a lady here in the Villages whose mother was one of the original women who worked at the station. And then I met another guy who knew the woman who wrote a book, because she worked at Sun Records back in the day as a publicist, and she wrote a book about her time at Sun Records. Her book is something that inspired that play. I did a mini documentary that we showed at the beginning of the play. It was really a cool thing to do. I incorporated a little film into the play telling the backstory of the two main characters.
That's very convenient.
It was cool.
You're going to have a screen in the new theater to do a projection on?
It was nice to have it at the theater, but we're going to have TVs. We've actually bought a couple, and we're going to buy some more so we can have video going throughout. I'll see what we're going to do in terms of the screen, but it's harder there because at the old mill, you've got the entire
a big
wall.
screen.
You can't put a screen behind the people on our stage at Grand Oaks because nobody would see it.
The problem I had at Old Mill when we did the improv show there is we couldn't use the projection screen because it would have meant projecting a background on the faces and bodies of all the players standing on the platform in front of the screen.
You get a lot of shadows, things like that.
Yeah.
Right.
We're going to take a short break and listen to an Alzheimer's tip from Dr. Craig Curtis.
But all scientists feel, all doctors feel, that you should definitely engage your brain and get involved in crossword puzzles, Sudoku, whatever types of brain stimulation you enjoy, and do it on a regular basis.
Experience studying brain health. Dr. Curtis's goal is to educate the village's community on how to live a longer, healthier life. To learn more, visit his website, craigcurtismd.com, or call 352-500-5252 to attend a free seminar.
I'm back with Luanne Hunt and Jim Bellacera. How are you going to go about building the audience?
So my background is networking. I've networked with thousands upon thousands of people. I've had 2 organizations with over a couple 100,000 people in them. And I started both of them with me. That was it. Nobody else. As I started to meet people, I would discover some of these people were parts of groups. Either that or they had influence with 4 or 5 or 10 other people that were in their neighborhood or just friends. Quickly, I caught on to this. And I started grouping them together when they would order tickets for themselves. And then someone would ask me a question. I'm bringing several people with me. And I would start reserving their seats, which developed into really good relationships with people, whether they were parts of clubs or just influential with their friends. Now we have over 100 leaders. And again, these leaders, some of them are in clubs, some of them are just influential, but they're leaders nonetheless. And so that's what got me to really recognize them. So I started creating group spots. This leads me to what she's wanting to do at the theater, now having dinner. They get to sit in rounds. Rather than theater style, they're actually sitting at a table. So they can put their drinks on the table as well as eating their food, but they're talking to each other. They're facing each other. This is much bigger. So I would talk to everybody about coming together as a group. They started reaching out to their friends. And that's how it turned into the number of people that we have that are influential in bringing groups. They brought the bulk of the people, not me. I just met the key people and then turned that into an opportunity for them to bring their friends.
When is the first production going to come on?
Going to be on June 7th. We have a lady by the name of Hannah Tim. She has sung on Broadway. She's a TV personality. She's been a host on Home Shopping Network and QVC. She does a show called Judy at 100, Judy Garland. It's a multimedia presentation. She goes through the life of Judy Garland and all the music, and there's narration, and she's a phenomenal singer. Her husband, who's also been on Broadway, plays piano for her. He's going to do a little tribute to Bobby Darin. So it's going to be a cool event.
That's tomorrow. But when you talked about a tribute to Judy Garland, there's a lady here in the Villages who wrote a tribute show to Mae West. That might be something of great interest. The lady who wrote it, I saw her sitting down at the piano, playing the songs that she wrote, and she was acting as Mae West. It was fantastic. The producer took her out of the show completely.
Oh, man.
But there are a couple of other writers here in the Villages, like Wayne Richards, who has written several shows that have not been produced on Broadway, but he owns because he wrote them, that you might want to talk to over time. Do you have a show calendar for the rest of 2025 in your mind?
I have been putting together shows. Some of them are not completely confirmed yet. I will be doing 3 luau's this summer, 1 in June, 1 on the 28th. And then there's 1 at the end of July, 1 in August. And we also have a musical about Joan Denver that I've written. And it's all original music. So
Not-
that's going to be on October 17th, 18th.
So it's not none of the John Denver songs that we're all familiar with.
We will have a pre-show with some John Denver music, so people will be able to enjoy that and get in the mood for the presentation of the show. We're planning something as a pre-New Year's thing, and right now we're trying to get our entertainment for that. And then in July, we have a Beatles tribute coming, Liverpool Live on July 13th. It's a Sunday afternoon.
So you're bringing in performers for that?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what we have so far. It's here. I don't know whether we'll be adding anything more for now.
I don't remember a luau dinner theater here in the Villages in the past 7 years that I've been here. Maybe someone does. But could you explain for our listeners what a luau dinner theater is?
I say it's a luau style dinner.
In my opinion, it's not a luau unless you have a roast pig.
Exactly. It's luau style. We're going to have Hawaiian dancers,
Okay.
and we're also going to have a gentleman come and play a steel drum presentation, which is going to be awesome.
Steel drum.
Yeah, steel drums and some music, original music by myself that I've written in the style of
Hawaiian
that.
music.
Yes. Then we have a gentleman by the name of John Kase. He's a singer-songwriter.
I know John very well. John was in my improv group regularly.
He's going to be doing a tribute to Jimmy Buffett on this show. So it's a combination with a luau feel, but then we have the Buffett thing going on, kind of island style. It's called Jim and Annie's Island Party. And then we'll have pineapple chicken and things like that on the buffet. Appropriate food for the theme.
But no real foil.
Nothing like that.
Oh,
No.
good.
I don't think anyone will be upset.
I couldn't eat that.
No, it's not so hot.
I guess if you grew up with it, it's great.
Somebody asked us this morning, is everybody going to get laid? And we said yes.
What are you going to do for people who have a vegetarian or other special diet?
We have a vegetarian option
Okay.
on the menu. We also have a vegetarian option. And there's salad and vegetables and all kinds of things too. So,
It's going to be buffet style.
yeah, it's a buffet.
And how many people are you going to have in the room?
We're hoping between 200 and 300.
So you got a lot of tables to get 300 in there.
It maxes out at 350 with the tables.
Yeah. Yeah, we do our improv shows. The first ones we did were theater style seating, and then we threw that idea away real fast and went to round tables of 8.
We also have the TVs that are going to be,
The TVs are going to help.
we're going to have at least 4 of them.
We can't put TVs into the rec centers, not without a tremendous amount of expense of putting them in and pulling them out, because you can't leave anything there overnight if you're doing 2 consecutive shows.
This is one of the nice things about this place. The arrangement that they've made with us is beautiful. We can come in days early, set up, and then
Do you do dress rehearsals?
no problem.
Yeah, that's a problem in the Villages.
Yes.
And that was a huge problem for the theater when they were practicing for the play. They would have to come at 8 o'clock in the morning, stop by 10 o'clock. Sometimes that was the best time they would get would be by 10. Sometimes it's 9:30.
But
I want to add one thing. I don't know if this is something you guys want to put on the talk or not, but I started doing these concerts over at the theater.
you were in the front area, the atrium.
And the concert I'm talking about specifically are the tribute type concerts. And the first ones we had was Elvis Presley and Hank Williams Sr., and we maxed it out 300 people. The next one we did, which was the last one on April 13th, we did a Patti Klein and Johnny Cash, and I maxed it out twice, so 300 back to back, so 600 people. And this one will be actually, because it's being moved over there, it'll be after your podcast is aired, but it's something that could be talked about because we'll continue to do this. I have some others planned.
What area are you going to use for these concerts?
I'm using our room. Yeah, and
Okay,
it'll
yeah.
be a free concert. So people can come. They just have to RSVP. There's no other way to come in. But that room actually holds a little bit more people. We're planning on doing back-to-backs. So the Inkelberg Humperdinck and Friends concert that we're doing, that's a tough name to say.
Yes.
But he does Tom Jones. Oh, my goodness.
Do they do Kenny Rogers?
No, but George Strait. He does several different celebrities. And he's got a beautiful voice. But he's also performed several times over at the Orange Blossom Opry. This will be the first time he's performed for free, but he knows that people like him, they'll leave tips and so forth, and it really works out well. Everybody wins. I do the advertising. Money comes to me. But it does bring people to knowing about the location. They get a feel for us.
That's a great dirty trick to bring people in to see how close it is, to see what a nice facility it is. Now, are you going to set up the seating in round tables, or are you going to seat them auditorium style?
We have not made that decision yet, but it's going to be either or. She really wants, and I agree with her. I like the round table because it gives people the opportunity to speak to each other and meet friends. I'm all about that. I'm the guy that builds organizations where it's all about know and trust, build those relationships. And you can't do that when you're sitting theater style.
You talk to one person on either side, and that was it.
That's what, all the things that I've done throughout my career have always been about building relationships.
Then you have to stick with the round tables.
I agree. That's why I was doing what I was telling you before with the groups. I set them all together, but I know the guy at the very end or lady at the very end, she's not talking to the one on the other side.
Yeah.
But with the round tables, yes,
it's easier. Are you going to have people bringing in their own snacks?
That's a great question. The facility will provide the alcohol and the snacks and so forth. And there's a bistro there too. So depending on, I don't think they have the bistro on Sundays. So that won't be available, but there will be snacks and alcohol.
You have to get a lot of people in it.
I think at the same time, we're all like learning each other because we are going to be a long-term relationship with them.
We want to help them too, bring more attention to that place because it is spectacular. And we ate in the bistro a few weeks ago because I had eaten there with Jim probably 2 or 3 years ago. This time it was like, oh my God, they got new management with new cooks and everything. In fact, the chef has 35 years experience. The food was fabulous.
Oh, that's great.
I'm like, anytime.
I remember the last time I went out there for dinner, serving lobster, but you had to call a week before to make a reservation for a lobster.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
They probably had to buy it in advance.
But yeah, it's unbelievable how much the food's been upgraded. It's fantastic.
Let's be straight. She's a critic. She's an amazing chef. She doesn't just write songs, write plays, write musicals. This woman can also do videos. She's an excellent chef. And wherever we go to eat, we're not going back if the food's not good. That's why we didn't go back to the bistro. She loves it there. The food is excellent.
That's one of the topics. I'm getting close to putting together a second podcast. It's going to be called Mature Adults in the Villages. What are the good restaurants in the villages? What are the ones to avoid? Yeah. So what kind of cost is it going to someone to go to one of your dinner theater shows or regular shows?
Our typical price is $60 for general admission and $68 for VIP, which are probably going to be like the first 2 rows. And of course, their dinner's included in that.
If there's a show without a dinner?
I don't know, because right now we're pretty much stuck on doing the dinner theater. I don't know if we're going to even go to a theater style.
You had some shows that were RSVP only, and everyone's supposed to give a donation when they leave.
Well, they don't have to.
They can tip the artist if they want, but they're not required to.
No one's required.
So we'll stay with this dinner theater concept, though. But that's going to be our general price. The show that I'm working on is like a pre-New Year's Eve celebration. We've scheduled it for December 27th. That show will be a little bit more because we're planning on upgrading the food, like maybe doing filet and salmon. So if we have that kind of food, the ticket price will go up a bit. But generally, we'll just be doing that price, the 60 and
Are you going to do a New
68.
Year's Eve show?
This isn't on New Year's Eve, but it's a few days before.
Put it on December 31st.
No, we're not going to do that. But
Take that day off, okay.
a lot of artists, especially this year, have already been booked in advance. So we thought, let's do a pre-New Year's Eve thing. This way people don't have to stay in there till midnight or anything, you know.
When you consider the cost of let's say it's a $60 seat instead of $68, the VIP is VIP. But you're going to spend, just for lunch, you're going to spend $30 before you even pay the tip. Every place we go to eat at lunchtime is $30. You know, you're going to get, so when you look at what you're getting, entertainment that typically is going to cost between $25 to $55, $75, even $100 without the meal.
Yeah. After improv, we go out to Kumu's or Paisanos, and just for me alone last night was like $20 tab, and I didn't eat a lot because it was 9 o'clock at night.
Well, when we go to lunch, like he said, we'll pay between $30 and $40 every time. And dinner, you'll pay $50, $60, $70 for dinner, depending upon where you go.
By the way, that's without alcohol.
We don't even drink.
Yeah,
so
we don't
Right.
drink.
That's not including a dessert. And we don't even buy soft drinks. So that's just that. And then if you go to a show at the Savannah Center, for instance, they have, their tickets usually start at $40, $45, and a lot of them go up to $60. Yeah,
You gotta
so
hire,
$50,
right.
$60 just for the show.
Yeah, I paid over $100 of the tickets for Book of Mormon.
Yeah, that's the problem too. So we want to bring quality for a reasonable price. But for 2 people to be able to go out to a dinner and a show for $120 for the whole evening. You got everything. The other day we went down to St. John's River. They have a river ship
The
cruise.
riverboat.
It was $71 a person, and we got a fabulous meal. They have prime rib on their menu, salmon and all this stuff. And so you get the meal.
Nice meal.
Yeah, very nice meal. You get the boat ride. They have live entertainment for $71 a
Depends
night.
on where you were sitting. We've taken that cruise twice from the Mercedes Club. If you're in the back, you don't even know the entertainers are on the ship.
They do it differently because they have a television set upstairs that the entertainers are seeing on there, and they've piped in the sound throughout the boat.
Oh, they improved it.
So you hear everything the whole time. But for $150, we got a full day of entertainment, and everything was included. And people pay a lot just to go on a cruise for that kind of a package deal where they get their food, they get the shows.
That makes it a much better package.
So we felt like this is really reasonable.
How many shows do you think you're going to put on average?
For now, two
2
per
shows?
month. Next year, we want to do 3 or 4 a month, depending upon what we can bring in. But this year, since we're halfway through, let's just test the waters, work out the kinks of a new venue, and see what the public response is. And then we can go full board in 2026.
I wish you a lot of luck, and I'm sure our audience will want to know how to get a hold of you to make the reservation for the $60 dinner theater. How do they do that?
They can go to stellarstageshows.com.
Spell that out.
STELLAR stage STAGE shows SHOWS.com. If you're going to RSVP to a free event, there's a tab that says free events, and you just do the free events. The homepage is where you buy all the tickets. And there's also a form where you can join our email list.
How many people do you have on your email list now?
He can
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Which means thousands. That's good.
Yeah, he builds it up fast.
Thanks for being on the show. Did I forget to ask you any questions you want to answer?
I guess some people might want to know about the parking situation over there, because there was a concert a few months ago with Chubby Checker, and people were buzzing on the internet, and they were complaining because they had to pay for parking. But in our case, all the parking is going to be free over there, and there's plenty of it. And even if you have to park out from the building, we'll have golf carts shuttling you to the front door.
Oh, that's
So
great.
it'll be really convenient.
Yeah.
If somebody has a walker or a wheelchair or whatever, they can drop them off right out front, and then they can just turn around and go to park their vehicle. And like she said, the golf carts to shuttle them back and forth if need be.
You're going to have the signage so people know where to go.
Yes.
That's great. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Mike.
Remember, our next episode will be released next Friday at 9 a.m. Should you want to become a major supporter of the show or have questions, please contact us at mike@rothvoice.com. This is a shout out for supporters: Tweet Coleman, Ed Williams, Dwayne Romick, Paul Sorgan, and Dr. Craig Curtis at K2 in the Villages. We will be hearing more from Dr. Curtis with short Alzheimer's tips each week. If you know someone who should be on the show, contact us at mike@rothvoice.com. The way our show grows is with your help. Text your friends about this show. If you enjoyed listening, or just tell your friends about the show. We thank everyone for listening to the show. The content of the show is copyrighted by Roth Voice 2025, all rights reserved.